Hey, what's going on with you today? It is time for GarageBand Weekly. Yes, the only show brave enough to talk GarageBand on a weekly basis. And look, it started as GarageBand Weekly. Have we gone off track a little bit? Do we talk about Logic? Do we talk about iPads and iPhones and Macs and general creating and home recording and all the rest of it? Yeah, we do, because it's kind of my time to let my hair down. and just relax and have a chat. So today we are doing Q&A as well. I've got a few topics, a few questions that have come in through the week, so we'll be getting to those. But if you are here live and you have questions, I'm more than happy to try to answer them. Maybe send you away to a video or a community or a forum or somewhere, or maybe get the live folks who are here watching the show to contribute, because we've got some very smart people in this community. And I say it often, and I'll continue saying it, folks, if you think you know everything about everything, you know nothing about anything. And if you surround yourself with all yes people that are going to tell you that you're right all the time, you ain't going to learn nothing. So I surround myself with the smartest and the coolest and the kindest possible people I can. That way we can all work together to solve the world's problems, or at least our little chunk of the world, which is GarageBand and Logic and the rest of it. G'day to the folks who are here live. Thanks for being here. G'day to Jim Shannon. Hello to Chase. I'll flag that question. I'll talk about that. I will actually talk about this in this show. I was planning to, weirdly enough. So I will actually cover GarageBand on PC. Hello to Mark Bro. G'day to you, Thomas Christ. It's got Al Davis Music, who's always here, always has some very interesting and you're a thinker, Al. Your questions are always really well thought out and really appropriate. So if you have any of them today, please go ahead and throw them. Hello, Chris Lane Sr. Yeah, look, I think I'm right, or maybe I'm not. Maybe you folks need to tell me if I'm right or not, because I don't always know. I wrote a song once and I said, yeah, don't forget, your brain sometimes lies to you. It wants to protect you, and it protects you by making you think you're right. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes it takes a lot more brain power to actually use the critical thinking muscle to work out that you're not. Hello, Mars Capone. Speaking of wonderful folks, g'day. Yes, Thomas Christ. Donations always expected, never work. No, other way around. Always welcome, never expected. G'day, Sylvie Drapeau. Bonsoir to you. Hope you are doing well. We've got Ed Z here as well. We've got Eric B. G'day to you. A newer member of the community, I believe, Eric, unless you've been lurking for a long time. I just didn't see you there. If anyone does have any questions, though, we're going to be pretty cash here today. We're just going to be having a chat about a few things. I'm getting all choked up already. But I got the iPad here if any GarageBand questions that come in. And I do have GarageBand on the Mac. I don't use it a whole lot. I must admit, I use it for one thing every week, and that's the podcast. So I always, when I'm recording the podcast, I record it directly in Ecamm or in StreamYard, but I always have GarageBand running as a backup. It just sits there in the background and records it. And there's been a couple of times where I've done something really weird and the audio hasn't worked through the video recording, so I've needed to get the audio and sync it up. It's worth having a redundancy there, folks. Like, always have a backup plan, I say. But then again, I'm a very conservative dude in some ways. When it comes to risk taking, when it comes to other things, not so much. We might. Look, if you're ever going to get the true version of me, it's the happy hour and it's GarageBand Weekly. For whatever reason, this is where sort of the true colours come shining through. Speaking of colours, the 6 colours of Apple. Do we have any Apple related stuff in the last week? Before we get to that, Jim Shannon has become a member. Thank you very much, Jim Shannon, for becoming a member of the channel. And I'm long overdue for doing a members-only stream. So I might try and do that at some stage, either today or tomorrow. I've done the mobile before while I'm out roaming about, so that's always a fun thing to do. Lurking and eating Joe and Barry Glenn, who Joe was saying in a chat that I saw this morning, earlier today, that, she was doing something, cooking, I think, and she could hear Barry cursing at Logic Pro in the background. I'm like, yeah, get there. By the way, Jade Sturgis did a great show all about why she loves Logic Pro, and she was mentioning a bunch of different stuff. the lessons in there, I did want to reiterate there that despite the fact that you should just watch my videos to learn Logic Pro, there's also some lessons in there, guided lessons. And I must admit, when I first started using Logic Pro, I started using those lessons, and they taught me the basics, and then you dive in and you get stuff done. So if you ever, it's like you can't complain unless, it's like with the recent shenanigans, if you don't vote, you can't complain. It's like if you haven't done the lessons, you can't complain about not knowing how to do it. So my high recommendation for anyone learning Logic Pro or making the transition from GarageBand to Logic Pro is do the lessons. It'll take you a couple of hours, but you will learn a crud ton. Apple news. Well, the new Mac Mini, the new MacBook Pro, the new MacBook Air have got out. All the embargoes have been lifted, and your Marquez Brownlees and your everyones of the world have started, the iJustines have started sharing their reviews and sharing their views and opinions. And guess what? It's exactly what we thought it would be. Every single one said, yep, these are great. They're not anything that different. There's no game changer stuff here, is what we're saying, folks. And the Apple, in fact, they've changed it now. I was about to show you the screen, and I'm like, see how Apple are always talking about? No, they're going with gifts now because it's the holiday season. So Apple.com is giving you buy some gifts, buy some gift cards, but all of their promotions are saying Apple Intelligence, and it's very, very, very clear that that's what they're pushing with these new machines. So the new Mac Mini, the new MacBook Pro, the new MacBook Air, they're really strongly pushing Apple Intelligence. And yeah, is Apple Intelligence going to be the game changer that they probably hope it will? I don't know. We don't know. It's better. It's better intelligence than the likes of the chat models and the chat GPTs and all these sort of things and the image generators. They're all fun. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. I want AI to do the repetitive tasks that I don't like doing. I want it to actually dive into my psyche and understand what I want to do. So it should be helping me with calendar invites. I should, instead of the buggerlugs that we talk to on our phones, getting things wrong all the time, I just want buggerlugs to know that when I say, hey, put the next South Australia cricket game in my calendar, that it goes and it finds that. It knows from past history what team that is. It knows the websites I've gone to seek out that information, and then it just puts it in there. And it knows me well enough to know that I get places way early. So it it sets the reminder 2 hours before the game so that I have plenty of time to get there. That's what I want AI to be. I don't want it to make music for me. I don't really want it to do, I mean, some of the image generation stuff I use. Case in point, my background here, I just said futuristic AI looking home studio, and it gave me this, and it's kind of fun. So I think AI should do two things. It should do fun stuff that's not realistic and not replacing stuff that's just ridiculously ludicrous, like the stuff we got here, and it should do actual helpful things that are going to help you get things done. And look, I think that there is some musical relevance to that, because why not use Apple Intelligence in GarageBand to use to check and sample all of the different Apple loops? We still don't in GarageBand know the key, the tempo of these loops. We still don't have things like automatic chord detection. So you can play. We had it. We had it in music memos, if you can believe it. We had it in music memos in 2017. In 2024, we don't have that anymore. So yeah, I think it can be used as tools to help you get to the creative stage. It can be used as tools to help you do crazy and wacky things. And most fundamentally importantly, and this is why I think Apple Intelligence might be good, is that if it can have private, secure access to your information and then use that on device with a little bit of gathering information from sources that you've told it to use, I think we're onto something. So that's why I think Apple Intelligence might actually do something, because it will have that access. And as long as we don't have any, and look, Apple have been pretty good, touch wood, with things like data breaches. Like, there aren't many companies that I trust with my data. My phone company has lost and had my data stolen many, many times, as has my bank, as has my superannuation company. Like, yeah, there's a lot of problems out there with data security. Apple seem to be as close to perfect as you can be in this world. I'm sure there's been things, but I'm pretty confident of anyone that it's pretty good. I'm hoping to buy a new Mac Studio after the first of the year. My 2017 iMac is starting to act its age. Yeah, absolutely. The Mac Studio, and to be honest, I don't know, and we'll talk about it now because again, this is just going to be one of those shows, folks. We're going to go with the flow for the next 50 minutes. We'll see where things take us and what you folks talk about. But I don't actually know if I would get the Mac Studio right now. If I was buying a computer right now, I'd probably get the Mac Mini with the Pro chip. I, but I don't know. But I'm me. That's the problem. So I'm running a studio here, so I do have to do things like 4K video recording and editing. I like to run two monitors. I like to have everything plugged in. So I love the studio for all the ports. Got 6 ports on the back of that sucker. Everything's plugged in directly. No dongles, no hubs. Everything straight in. So I love that side of things. But the Mini is so overpowered for its price. And as soon as you go to the studio, the price does kind of double immediately, and you're only getting the M2, and yeah, you can get the Max or the Ultra chip in the studio, but you pay a heck of a lot more. And a spec'd out, as I think our friend Thomas has done, a spec'd out M4 Pro is pretty competitive, even with the M2 Max chips that we had from a couple of years back. So, or you wait. That's the other thing. We're probably going to see new M4 Studios with the Ultra and the Max chips, but unlikely until at least the middle of next year. I'm talking WWDC or maybe even sort of October, November announcement time, around about this time next year, because they've had to manufacture is it Taiwan Semiconductor? They've had to manufacture so many chips in such a short period of time because every device now, iPad, MacBook, MacBook Pro, and Mac Mini all have the M4 chip, and the iMac. They all have the M4 chip in them. So it's it's a slippery one. I don't know what I'd go for. Mac Mini Pro around tax time of the new year. Yeah, and I honestly think the Mac Mini Pro is kind of the best buy at the moment. I think so, and that's what a lot of folks have been saying. And looking at the reviews of the Mac Mini, what do you think about the Mac Mini? You got to be. It's a bit like wearing a pink shirt, isn't it? You got to be okay with yourself to have such a small computer, because someone's going to walk into your studio and go, "Look at the size of that guy's computer," and you're like, "It's not the size; it's what you do with it." Sorry, does anyone even care about that shit anymore? Maybe. I wear pink shirts with pride. Dear AI, do my dishes and cleaning. I'll take care of the art. Exactly. Yeah, just know what I need. In that case, Apple AI might be a game changer. Yeah, exactly. If it could do your dishes, it would totally be a game changer. Hello, Javel. Good to see you, my friend. And yes, don't forget, the thumb button is free. Thumbs up because the sun's up. It is here anyway. Might be going down. Thunderbolt 5 is the other thing, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. In fact, yeah, I'll talk about that later because I've got that on my list of things to talk about with the different cable types and different sort of standards that we have now. It's getting a little confusing, isn't it? Literally just got here. Oh, awesome. Are you going to do like an unboxing video? Do we get to live vicariously through you, Tom? Go on. At least do a little video shooting of your experience. I'm sure you'll tell us about it on You Rock this week anyway. Question, is there a way to implement the sustain pedal with the Ravenscroft after you've recorded the part via MIDI? After. Can you add sustain after MIDI? There is a sustain track on your GarageBand track. Should we dive in and have a look at this now? What I'll actually do is I'll flag it because I'll finish the news and notes. There's not many more of it, but I'll flag your question here, Al, and we'll return to it if I can remember how to flag it. There we go. We'll return to that one in the Q&A section in just a few minutes. Oh, that was me scratching my nose, by the way. That wasn't middle finger scratch. It's like, yeah, well, I'll help you with that. We might have a supply chain issue in Vancouver, Montreal looming. Yeah, that could be a problem. It's not the size of the boat; it's the motion of the ocean. Oh yeah. Hello, Rena. How are you? You were having questions yesterday. Feel free to ask those here today. We'll be talking about all sports, all sorts of stuff. I reckon do something. When I got my Mac Studio, I started doing a video on it, and then I realized that It had no value. The Mac Studio had been out for a year. I didn't need to do a review of it. I didn't really need to do an unboxing of it. Everyone knows what it looks like. Everyone knows how it works. The one thing, and I said this to Thomas at the time, and I think I mentioned on last week's show as well, when you're transferring one Mac to another Mac, do everything on the old Mac first. Don't even turn the new Mac on until you've got the old one 100% ready to go. So that means backed up to iCloud Drive. Make sure you back up. So just go to the backup settings, make sure it's been recently backed up, like right now, and then put it into migration mode. And what that does is it shuts it down and it reboots it in a mode where it's ready to transfer absolutely every data, every piece of data and every setting from the old one to the new one. Then when you log into the new one, you go onto the network, it says, here's your old Mac. Do you want this to just be that? And you go, yes, please. And it does it. So that's the sort of stuff I want. Forget your AI. I just want an easy migration process. For anyone that's ever tried to do that with a PC over the time, it just never worked for me. Like the Windows had the same sort of thing. Windows had like a Windows migration assistant or something. I could never get it to work. So I just ended up starting from scratch every single time with Windows. With Mac OS, it's a little bit easier, at least in my humble experience. So hopefully Thomas isn't pulling his hair out in the next day going, John's lied to me. It wasn't easy at all. Montreal Harbour is already in lockout, but so is this is sort of a work stoppage with the dock workers? Is that what we're talking here? Let me guess. Evil, greedy fat cats not paying hard-working people enough money to survive. And then just telling them that they're not going to give them any pay rises. Yeah, and then trying to bust their unions down. Something like that. Quiet, Daddy's on his high horse. Excuse me. Hello, Marxist heathen granny. I hope you're doing well, my friend. 2 weeks ago, Jacob Collier, I'm a fangirl, demonstrated his new test app he's making with Google called Music FX DJ. Had so much fun. Oh, you put in any word and AI creates a noise or sound. Huh. We'll have to look at that later. I'll flag that one and go and have a squiz. Put in any word. So it's just using like word. So it's like Suno or Udio, but you put a word in and it creates a sound based on that word. So I put spaghetti and it just creates something that is like spaghetti. That could be interesting. Yeah, there's a link in the bottom. All right. Yeah, we'll explore that. We'll explore that in a bit. The only other thing I had on the news and notes topic here was that the iPod, it turned 23 years old, if you can believe it. 2001, November the 10th, in fact, so a couple of days late, or one day for you folks. It's amazing, isn't it? The 23 years ago. So what's changed since then? Well, Lightning didn't exist. In fact, the 30-pin dock connector didn't exist. That was invented after this. It was Thunderbolt. No, it wasn't Thunderbolt. It was Firewire only. It was Mac only. And it had a 1 gigabyte hard drive, a little 1.8 inch, not solid state, spinning hard drive. So think about that. Think about the size that an iPod was, and the hard drive wasn't what we have now. It actually had a little tiny spinning hard drive in there. And over the years, they went from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 to 120. I think I think it went 240, I think, was the highest gigabyte store, or 250, something like that, eventually. And they were all spinning drives. And then, of course, the iPod Nanos came out, the iPod Shuffles, the iPod Touch. It led into the iPhone, which led into the iPad, which led us to where we are today. So, yeah, I didn't use one. Back in the day, I used all sorts of MP3 players. My very first, I've talked about it before, my very first MP3 player was a Jazz Piper. It had 32 megabytes of storage, enough to store about 10 very poor quality MP3s on it, so less than an album's worth. But I had a 32 megabyte smart media card. Yep, not SD. No, not MMC. No, just smart media. Those thin ones you used to put in your keyboards as well, like your musical keyboards. So I had 64. So I could cram about 20 songs onto this little Jazz Piper device, and it was kind of cool. It was fun, and I just, because think about it, at the time, the only alternative was a Discman, and they were fine, but they were kind of clunky. You had to carry your CDs around with you. You had to open and close the thing, and it was skipped all the time unless you had a really high-end one. or cassettes, where again you had to carry around cassettes. They were moving parts. You had your Walkmans. They never sounded that good. So yeah, the digital revolution was pretty cool. Yes, the good old nuggets. If you watch Dank Pods, him and his old iPods, there's heaps of cool videos there. He's a great creator actually. What's his name? Wayne. Wayne? No, Wade. He's an Adelaide dude, and his channel is Dank Pods. Very, very cool. Definitely worth checking out. But yeah, I say all of that to say, yeah, it wasn't until iPods. My first iPod was an iPod 30 or 40 gigabyte that I got, which was like the video one. So because podcasts had just become a big thing, and video podcasts. So we're talking Dignation, Ask a Ninja, if anyone remembers that sort of stuff. There was what was the Tiki Bar one? Tiki Bar TV. Yeah, so Strong Bad emails. So all these things were video podcasts that came out, and with the iPod video, you could actually add them to your. Oh, that was the other thing. You had to sync it via iTunes, so you had to use iTunes, and I was a PC user at the time, so you had to actually sync it up using iTunes, and it was a few years in before they added PC support and before they added USB support. So originally FireWire only, Mac only, but eventually we got around to it and we got to do there. I still use my iPod 3. Battery's no good anymore. Yeah, that's the problem. Nice. Put in sauerkraut. Nice. Let's continue on. I will tag your other question as well, Rena, when we get to that. In fact, we're jumping in to our Q&A section. So we're 22 minutes in, and I've talked about 2 things. But really, we've talked about 10 things because we jumped around a bit. Oh, dear. Yeah, Mac 4 Mini, with 1 terabyte, $1,300 cheaper than my 2018 PC desktop. This is the thing. Let's talk about this really briefly because this is something that kind of blows me away. Macs used to be expensive. And I know people will say they still are expensive, Johns. Yes, they are at the higher end. But at your entry point, they are not. Like, it is actually, it's basically through all of the benchmarking, all the testing, there isn't a personal computer that's more powerful and more energy efficient for less money than the current $599 Mac Mini. Now, the problem is, as soon as you add any additional hard drive storage, which many would say is kind of a must do to actually add hard drive storage, so 256 gig is what it comes with. I've said in the past that 256 is not enough if you're a creator in GarageBand or Logic Pro. I think you need at least 512, if not a terabyte. So as soon as you go up there, it does lose a little bit of its value, but man, it's not far off. Whereas when I was buying computers just before M1. So I was about to build a new studio PC. I was chatting with my friend Mike Endro over at Creative Source. He's a big PC guy. He'd just built himself like this amazing looking PC rig. And I'm like, Mike, I need your parts list. Let me know what you got. I want to get something like what you've got. And I was about to drop probably $2.5, $3 on a Windows Studio PC. And then Apple went M1. And I went, oh. So even here in Australia, where our dollar is not worth as much, I could pick up the base level M1 Mac Mini for $1,099. Now, that's not chump change, but there aren't any good PCs or desktops or laptops that you can pick up that cheaply, apart from the really bargain basement kind of ones. If you wanted something decent, you were spending $1,500 to $2,000. So I thought, well, I'm an Apple guy. At that point, I had multiple iPhones, multiple iPads. I'd been in the Apple ecosystem on my mobile devices. And I had to admit to myself, one of the biggest challenges was moving files between my my iPads and my iPhones and my Windows PC. So I thought, why not try a Mac? And I haven't kind of looked back since then. Whereas previously, yeah, I would look at Macs, and for an equivalently spec'd PC and Mac with equivalent benchmarks, PC 1,000, Mac 3,000. And it's just not that anymore. Apple, because they brought their silicon in-house and they can do everything themselves, that's it. They win. Success. Yeah. Oh, iTunes. Oh, my goodness. iTunes. If you weren't around, I envy you. If you weren't around for the iTunes on the PC days, you are a very, very lucky individual because it was an absolute pig. It hogged your memory and it took up a lot of space and it crashed frequently and the playlisting wouldn't work properly. And sometimes you'd sync and it would get 80% through it. It took a really long time. It was over USB 1. So it would take forever to sync. And then you'd get like right at the end, it was like sync failed. And you'd be like, what the actual balls? And you'd have to restart it and you'd reboot everything and you do it again. It'd be like sync failed. So yeah, it wasn't great. You know how they used to say Apple, it just works? Yeah, no, it didn't work because I don't know. There was people that are like, I think that they deliberately made it not work well so that you'd go and buy a Mac. I'm like, I don't think that's it, but maybe. Yeah, and now that we have on-device syncing, iCloud Drive for all of its foibles and all the things I don't like about it, and yes, I know, I pay extra. I've got 4 terabytes of storage now because I've paid extra, just so that I can have every file I own in the cloud all the time. It's worth it for me. It's worth the $15 a month for me to know that everything is there. Alrighty, let's jump into the questions because they're starting to pile up. Can I get GarageBand for Windows PC? I was thinking about this today, and Jade, you mentioned it in your show, that Apple are very unique in the sense that they do a lot of software development. So they don't, you could get a Mac and use only Apple software and basically get everything done. And you can do it at 2 different levels. So it's quite unique. So if you think about Microsoft, on the other hand, so Microsoft, if you get a Microsoft device, sure, Office, you can use that. And these days, there's kind of sort of free versions of Office you can kind of sort of use, but you need an Office 365 subscription if you're going to be using it properly, unless it's using WordPad or something, does that still exist on your Windows PC? But Windows tried to do this sort of stuff. They never really delved into music. So there was no Windows Music. There was Windows Movie Maker, which was okay. And then they just killed it. They just went, no, we don't want to bother with this anymore. So there was no good free editor on Windows. And it was around this time that, yeah, I just started thinking, so you get a Mac and you get the entire like iLife and iWork suite. You get the numbers and the sheets and the word processing and the pages, and you get the PowerPoint equivalent that they have called Keynote. You get GarageBand and iMovie out of the box. And then if you want to upgrade, Apple themselves make Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. They make pro-level apps. And it kind of just, yeah. I used to fight on the other side, and I don't think I ever fought. I never got into the whole Mac versus PC, yay, wars. But I was just a PC guy. But looking back on it, I think it was just gaming. I think because I liked playing games, I liked SimCity and playing The Sims and playing, you can see what sort of person I was. I like doing the gaming on PC, so I kept on PC. And it wasn't until I stopped gaming or do the gaming I do on my PlayStation now that I'm like, so if I'm just using it for work and productivity and music and video, Mac is hands down better, even just using the stuff that comes in the box. In my humble opinion, again, it's all opinion based, isn't it? Absolutely. And all the Apple suite is compatible. That's the thing. Like there was things like Open Office back in the day, but it never quite really worked. Whereas the Apple stuff works a treat. Absolutely interchangeable. No problems at all. And yes, and no subscription for Logic and Final Cut Pro on the Mac, which is a big advantage. I know. Of all the things, it's not my favorite or my best. I'm on a bit of a mission at the moment to try and reduce and remove a lot of the subscriptions I have. There's a few I'll be keeping, Logic Pro, obviously, DistroKid, but anything else that I pay for, and YouTube Premium and my Apple stuff. Like there's the fundamental stuff, but as far as like, what did I see at one point? There was an EQ app that wanted you to pay 99 cents a month for. And I'm like, I don't need to pay no dollar a month for an EQ app. Like, let's get realistic about this. If it's a really good EQ app and it's $5 once, I'll consider it. But you could actually go insane. You could go nuts paying for all the different subscriptions that are available out there. Hello, Princess LGG. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, like my cyber background. Pretty cool, huh? Hello, Tremor Bear, who's here as well. Thank you, everyone, for your kindness. And Tremor Bear, a little birdie told me, a little bear cub told me that you and Ian are on Frank Terzo's Community Pulse show today. Is that correct? That's very cool. I will be trying to tune in. I've got a lot to do today. Unfortunately, this is like my Friday night, but I got a bit of a backlog of work that I've been putting off that I just need to get done today and tomorrow, so that I can actually do next weekend's shows without having all this stuff hanging over me. So yeah, I'll definitely be trying to tune in. And in fact, I've got it set up to send you straight to Frank Terzo. He's got a premiere that he's doing in about an hour and a half, and then the Community Pulse show. So we used to overlap with Frank's show, and then Daylight Saving came, and then we directly connected, and now Daylight Saving has gone away in the US, and now it's an hour after we end this show. So there we go. Cool. Very good. Very good. Let's go to our next question. Is there a way to implement the sustain pedal after you've recorded a part? So there is a sustain track here in GarageBand. Let's have a wee fiddle, shall we? I'm just going to open a new project here in my tutorial songs section and see if I can bring up my iPad, which I can. There we go. So let us, now it will work the same whether you're using just the regular piano or Ravenscroft, because they both, opened up the sampler. Let's come in here. We're going to have to get more sounds. Keyboards, classical grand. Classical grand's kind of a cool sound. So what I'll do is I'll record in a phrase here. I'll record the first half with sustain on, because if you don't use a sustain pedal, you can actually use your latch here to latch sustain on if you want to. So I'll record the first half with sustain on, second half without it, and we'll see what we can do with this, because I haven't used it for a while. All right, so we've got our phrase there. Let's go into the MIDI note editor here. And tap again, hit edit. There we are. So you can see your sustain track is down here. So the sustain is on for these first notes. And now it's off. So you can tap on this sustain track. You can copy it. And I believe you can also paste it. Yes, you can. So what you would want to do, and it should work the same on a Ravenscroft, is to do that. I don't think you can add it in though. So what you might need to do, if you have got no sustain at all, let's find out. If you've got no sustain at all, if we delete this, and we delete this, so we've got no sustain at all on here. Is there any way we can now add sustain? There's no way to, I think you can only move or delete or copy and paste. So you need some sort of sustain. So let's put ourselves in your position where you've recorded it into an external instrument like the Ravenscroft. External audio unit extensions, and we'll fire up Ravenscroft. So let's say that you are recording this and you're going to go. All right, so you've recorded that in, but you haven't used any sustain at all. What you'd probably be able to do, in fact, I think this is what I'd go with. So if we come here, I'm just going to have to extend this track out a bit because it's gone down to 4 bars. We'll just make this 8 bars. So we've got 8 bars there. Oh, didn't want it to loop. So let's just say this is your Ravenscroft. You got no sustain, right? So if we come in here and we edit it, you've got no sustain track at the bottom because there's no sustain on it. I reckon what you'd need to do is just go to the end here and record something with sustain. So just hit record, latch on that sustain, and then stop it, and then go back to your track view. And what you should find now is that if we go to this one, we go edit. Yeah, now we've got our sustain track there. And then all you need to do is tap and drag. Can you drag it? Might not be able to drag it because it's between bits, but if we copy this and then bring excuse me, playhead to the front, we can paste it in there. And there we go. So you just need to get some sustain from somewhere. You can't add it when the track's not there. It just doesn't exist. But as soon as you do some sustain on any keyboard track, you can copy it. And now it sounds like the first Noel. So yeah, like most things in GarageBand, you just kind of have to work around. Oh, that was weird. You see that? It just moved my whole screen. Let's lock that one down. I didn't have it locked down. So let me know if that helps. Hopefully that's sort of what you're looking for and will solve your problem. But let me know if that doesn't work. Go to Paul O'Farrell. Thank you for being here. My friend Wobbly Ashtray Records / It'll Be Grand / Paul. You go by many names, my friend. All good. Yeah, what's the weather like for you? It's the time of year where it's kind of similar for everyone everywhere. I mean, not exactly, but it's kind of mild. And I say that, and there's probably some major storm off the coast of somewhere about to destroy people. Yes, please do hit the like for me. I try my very best. Let's see. I'll scroll down and see if there's any new stuff that's come in here, but I don't think so. So we'll go to our next question, which is this one here from Rena. So what is this? Now I'll bring the box up here so I can read the whole thing. 2 weeks ago, Jacob Collier, new test app he's making with Google called Music FX DJ. Let's see, Jacob Collier, Music FX DJ. All right, Google searched it well. It looks like there's some videos. So it's actually on the Google blog. This is interesting, isn't it? So he's genuinely working with Google. Look at him. He's so cute. Okay. So we launched lab sessions, which brings together. So can we actually use this now? Let's just click it and see if it'll open. If it's truly Google, it should let us. Oh yeah, Music FX DJ. I can sign in with Google. Let me sign in, and we'll see if we can play with it. I'll just come over here while I sign in. You don't need to see. AI Test Kitchen, it's called. Sign in with Google. I'll sign in with my other mystery Google account that you don't know about, except that I accidentally show it all the time. So experience and shape. Let's come back over here now. Experience and shape AI tools for creativity. Let's zoom in and see what we'd like to do. I don't want to receive any of this. No, I don't need anything else in my inbox. Please review 100 pages of... Okay, it's not actually that bad. We will give away your firstborn child. Okay, fair. It's tough but fair. All right, let's agree and continue. I've got no idea what this is. Oh. We can't collect your emails at the moment. Please don't collect my emails ever. So what are we doing here? We're moving things around. Industrial, American folk, and Bhangra. So we can add prompts. So at the moment, what do we just press play? Or do we listen to it? It's not playing anything. Do I have... Yeah, I've got my audio up. That's a bit weird. Industrial. Oh, that's silencing it. Where's the play button? Am I missing something? How do I just play it? Oh, down here. I was too zoomed in. All right, what's it going to do? I mean, okay, that's the thing. All right, why don't we? Let's delete all this stuff. Industrial. So you can add a prompt. What should we add here? What if we get all meta and we go GarageBand, and then we go what else do we do around here? We go what's something related to this pumpkin, GarageBand pumpkin, and then shorts. So what does a GarageBand pumpkin shorts thing sound like? Let's find out. Oh, it hasn't changed it yet. I mean, kind of fun. GarageBand Pumpkin Short Shorts. I mean, the audio quality is not great coming out of there, but that might just be a browser thing. So you got density, low, high, auto. You got brightness, low or high. You got chaos. Oh, let's go high brightness, high chaos, high density. You can have drums, bass, and other. You can change up the BPM to be a particular BPM. You can change the key to be whatever key you want. Let's go to G major because everyone loves good G major, don't they? Oh, key settings added. Oh, stop! I can't stop it. It's gone out of control. Okay, yeah, sure. It's playing, and there is no way to stop it. It now owns the computer. It's still playing. Don't quite know what's going on there. Look, that could be something fun to explore. Look, it's better than AI that just is doing nothing. Like, you've got some control over it, and maybe you could use it as a bit of a fun way to create a backing track or something. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to play around with it. Yeah, I like it. So we've got more weather talk. Welcome to Weather Talk. 3 words. So, yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like fun. It looks like something that my kids would love to play with. And yes, I'm sure the swear words are going to start going in there. Hello to Guzzo of Oz. Speaking of Australia, we weren't, but there you go. G'day, Guzzo. Hope you're doing well. Let's go back to the questions. If you have any questions, by the way, please go ahead and put a big Q in front of your comment, and I'll happily at least attempt to answer your question. How come every time I go to my favourites and then go back to comments, it goes back to the top? Thomas, have you found that problem here in Ecamm? Anyway, yeah. New censorship laws in Australia, your thoughts? My own government got sucked into the vortex of censorship, but no creepy laws yet. So, yeah, this is a problem. So, full disclosure, I have 2 children, aged 15 and 12. One's about to turn 13, and at 13, you're allowed to have social media accounts. Here's the thing. A lot of parents and a lot of kids are already using the social media apps before they're 13. I think 13 is absolutely the minimum age that they should probably be using this stuff, but many of them are using more stuff. And look, when I say social media, my 12-year-old still watches YouTube and YouTube Shorts, which is about the same as the TikToks and the Snapchats and the Instagram Reels. And I'm not sure. She may want to start using Instagram at 13, assuming these laws don't actually go into place. Here's the problem. So what they're planning to do here, if you don't know, is to remove the ability for anyone under the age of 15 or 16. So if you're so you can't use anything if you're 13 at all. If you're 14 or 15, you need to get your parents' permission, which is a statement that does a lot of hard work. That statement's doing an awful lot of hard work. You get your parents' permission. I don't know how that's going to exactly work. And then, yeah, if once you're 16, you're on your own. You're out there in the wilderness. Few problems with this. So my gut reaction is nice idea. Agree that social media addiction is impacting the mental health and well-being of people, not only children, but all people. But banning is very rarely the solution. Banning doesn't really do what people think it does. Couple of problems. Number one is, how do you implement a ban and how do you police and monitor that ban? At the moment, there is no checks and balances, but how do you check that someone is 16 without impeding the rights of someone who's 18 and a fully grown adult? So me at 45, do I have to prove that I'm 45, that I'm not actually a 12-year-old pretending I'm 45? And how do I do that? What private document or information do I provide? Is it picture ID that then goes into a system that then adds to the problems of the cybersecurity issues that we're currently having? Do I have to show a photo of my face? In which case, good luck with that, because AI and deepfakes have already kind of fixed that and solved that. Do I have to do that thing you do with some document signing where you have to take a selfie of yourself and say, my name is Peter Johns and I am a good boy and I'm 45? I don't know. I honestly, I think that they've put the cart before the horse in the fact that without understanding the technology and without having a solution, they've said, we need to ban this. Instead of saying, what's actually the root cause of this problem? It's the people that are doing the bad things on social media that are not actually being checked in on, that are doing the ones that are doing the wrong thing. This is the problem I have with this. The people doing the wrong thing are going to do the wrong thing anyway. It's like road rules. I don't speed, and all the ads, all the horrific ads about speeding and speed kills and speed has horrible crashes, I look at them and they just make me sad. But the people that are speeding are the dickheads that aren't going to listen to the ads. They're not going to change their behavior. And if someone's an online bully or if someone's doing horrible things on social media that's impacting the well-being of others, guess what? They're going to keep doing it because they're going to find a way to do it anyway. And is that defeatist to say, well, we shouldn't try because it won't work and it won't be 100% successful, so let's not try? No, but I think it's kind of like in class, you know, when everyone, like people will be doing things in the classroom and the teacher will be right, no one's going out to recess until the person who owns up and says that they did it. And it's like punishing many for the actions of one is the stupidest way to discipline. And that's all we're doing here. So for all the kids, for all the LGBTQ kids that are using social media to connect with people because they're in danger, they can't speak with their parents or their networks about it, they're getting information, quality information. For all the kids that are actually able to flag things like that they're in abusive situations through social media because they can and there's no other way, yeah, are we going to punish them because of the actions of the few that are actually doing things wrong? So my thing is, it comes down to the parents and it comes down to reasonable and supervised content. My children know that I trust their judgment. They know that when something bad comes up on their phones or on their iPads or on their computers, they come straight to me and I teach them. It's a learning experience. They'll say, hey, so this started with like Roblox. So I started with my kids saying, oh, there's someone here. They've given me this link. And if I go there, I get 100 free Robux. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Do you think it's real? And they're like, why wouldn't it be real? And I'm like, no, flip that around. Why would they be doing this? Oh, because they've just got this free to give away. What do you think they're trying to get out of that? Oh, but it's just free. And I'm like, so it's not free. So how much does 100 Robux cost? And they're like, $20. It's like, right. So you're saying that they're giving you something worth $20 for free. For what reason? Like, what's the exchange here? And yeah, I know, it's a tough lesson to learn. Or the other day, my daughter's phone, she was on a website and one of those pop-ups came on saying, your phone security has been compromised. Tap here to download this app that can fix your security. And she came to me and she's like, Dad, I'm pretty sure this is a scam, but I'm a bit worried. Can you just check it? And I go in there and I check it and I'm like, yeah, so here's the indicators. And I say to her, so it's asking you to download this app that's in the App Store, but see how this isn't from Apple? So this isn't on your phone. This is on this web page and it's a separate pop-up on the web page. So if your phone system has a problem, here's where it will be. It'll be in your settings and it will tell you something in there. If it's not within that Apple system, then you can ignore it. You can safely delete it and ignore it. Just this morning, I got a text message from something that was just like a government link. It's like, MyGov, log in here. And I again, whenever I get these, it's a learning experience. I'm like, what do you think of this one, guys? Would you click this? I'm like, oh, hell no. So I like to think, and the other thing is, I've said to my children, I will give you as much privacy as I can, but I reserve all rights. While you're a minor and while you're my responsibility, I reserve all rights to check in on anything that's on your devices. Doesn't mean I will. Doesn't mean I'm going to be listening in on your chats like that you're doing with your friends. I won't be there with your WhatsApps, like seeing which boys you have crushes on. I genuinely don't want to know about any of that stuff. But if I see behavior, or if I see apps, or if I see things that are not appropriate, then we'll be having a discussion. Now, am I blessed and lucky that I have enough knowledge of this stuff to have those conversations? Yeah. So what do I want to do? I want to see more education. And look, the schools are trying to do this sort of stuff, but the answer is generally not flat out banning. The answer is usually better education so that everyone understands the risks, but also the benefits. Not everything is all bad or all good. It's this murky grey area that people don't like to deal with. They like things to be black and white so that they can just cut straight off. or just leave on. But it can't be that way. It's got to be murky. It's got to be grey. And that's my 2 cents. So hopefully, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'll see if anyone's got any views on this. Thank you, Jim Shannon, by the way, for the super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. There you go. 12 Canadian. That's six toonies. 12 loonies or 6 toonies. I'm sorry. I just love loony and toonie. It's an old thing for me. But thank you. I appreciate the kind donation. So big howling coyote. I'll jump into your question in just a moment. Yep, kids are smarter than we are. Let's be honest. My kids would be able to work out what to do, and then they'd probably be doing the exact same thing, but through some dodgy VPN that's a free one that actually tracks and harvests their data. So it's probably be worse because they're going to start doing things like that. I think. Hello, Dynamite Throw. I hope you are doing well. Misinformation and disinformation. And that's the thing. Critical thinking is so key and important because so many people are spreading so much incorrect information that it's adding to the problem. And again, I think we've lost the ability. We don't teach critical thinking enough in schools. And it's got to be like the positive shouldn't be, I've got a thought, therefore let me go find things that reinforce my thought. It should be, I've got a question, let me critically assess that question, work out what the most likely thing is from the most reliable, trusted source, and then cross-reference that with other trusted, reliable sources. And I don't see people doing that. Not enough anyway. Yeah, look, it's my thoughts and it's the way I try. Look, it's not perfect. They're probably doing something that I don't know about that's wrong. But guess what? Kids have been doing that for decades. Kids have had Playboys buried down in the forest for decades. Kids have been pushing the boundaries. And I think as teenagers and as young people, they do have to do that. I would not want them to. I say to my kids, you can have secrets. If it's something that's damaging to you or damaging to someone else, you need to come and tell me about it. But you're also allowed to have your own fun. You're allowed to do your own things. And I don't have to be involved in everything. My job is to educate you well enough that you know the difference between something that's just a bit of harmless fun and something that's actually damaging to someone else. Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't, here's the other thing. Can you imagine if you get to this point where a 16-year-old suddenly has access to everything? No. Like, I think that would be way, way worse. There's a stream of education called Steiner here in Australia, and I think it's around the world, actually. And this is where kids don't use technology at all. So the classrooms are all old-school blackboards and everything's handwritten, and they don't use computers. And I feel for these kids because they must get to the point where they start using this stuff in, like, high school, and they're way behind. So I don't think the answer is just limiting and then giving it to them all at once. If my kids hadn't had the education and the learning up through ABC Kids TV thing, and then Roblox and Minecraft, and then into YouTube and YouTube Shorts, and then into Instagram and TikTok, and it needs to be a progression, doesn't it? If you just go, no, first, people are going to work around and do it anyway, and then not have the guardrails up because they won't know what they're doing, and it'll be more dangerous. And B, they get to this point and they'll be totally overwhelmed. They won't know what to do. Anyway. And look, again, I don't want to say I'm holier than thou and that I do get everything right all the time. I do feel guilty. I do let my children use screens too much. But it's hard for me to say because my job is this as well. And I think the future will be using a lot of screens. So I don't think, look, it's not perfect. Would I love them to get outside and do more physical activity? Yes, absolutely. Yep, exactly. Spot on, Thomas. Let the parents parent. Banning stuff just causes resentment. And it's very weird. Again, I did semi-promise that we wouldn't get political, but it's very weird that the same people that want freedom, that want to stand behind certain amendments and certain bills of rights and certain freedoms of speech, also want to ban things and tell other people what they can and can't do. It's like, pick a lane, bro. You can't have it both ways. You can't say 100% freedom as long as it's all the things that I want you to be free to do. Anything that you want to be able to do or have a choice to do, no, can't do that. Should be $10. Oh, nice one. $12 Canadian is $10 Australian. Perfectly done. Thank you, my friend. Approved. Critical thinking, coding, finances, life skills. Exactly. And it's funny, my daughter's got a job now. And she's very quickly learning how little her $10 an hour actually does buy her now that she's earning her own money. And guess what? She's saving up now and she's realized she's actually saying, "Oh, I'm going out with my friends, but I've only put $20 in my spending account. I've left everything else in the savings because I know what I'll do. I'll just spend too much. But this way, if I try and spend more than that, it's going to reject it." And I'm like, good job. Like, well done. It's learning some financial responsibility. And yeah, if they can also learn coding and cybersecurity, I think they're made. Oh yeah, how good was Barry? Barry's such a great guitarist. Very well done. My friend opened Safari the other day on his Mac. There was a box at the top that says several of his passwords have been violated. It's a Safari phishing scam. Don't click the link. So the problem is that Apple devices and Google has the same thing. They do actually have that tells you where your passwords have been violated. But if it's a link, the problem is because that exists, these people that have the scam ones want you to make you think that it's that one, but it's not. So what I do is whenever I get those, I don't click through anything. I just note down what platforms it says I've been compromised on. I just go change those passwords manually. Like that's my soul for it. I'm like, plus if it just says some of your passwords, click here to know. No, it won't tell you that. It'll just say these 4 websites that you used have had passwords compromised, and then I just go change them. And if you're changing your passwords regularly, if you're using 2-factor authentication, preferably with an authenticator app, not with SMS. If you have to use SMS because it's easier, fine, but authenticator app is better. If you don't know what that's all about, hit me up. I'll send you a link. But basically, I use Google Authenticator. Go to the App Store. It's I'll just show you here. It's that one there, Authenticator. It's the little star-shaped thing. All you need to do is get that. You sign into one of your Google accounts in Authenticator, and then it brings up, I can show you these because I'm not logging in anywhere at the moment. I'll just flash it at you. Oh, you can't see it anyway. But it shows you a bunch of different websites and a bunch of different codes. So for me, I've got Restream, my TransferWise, my Discord. I've got WordPress, my website one. I've got Teespring for my merchandise. I've got Sony for my PlayStation. I've got PayPal. So anything that's important to me, I make sure I use the authenticator. And then when you log in, it will actually ask you to give you that code from your authenticator app. Meaning if someone has to have a logged in device of yours, as well as know your password, to get into your stuff. At which case, if someone's stolen your phone and stolen all of your logins, you got bigger problems. Like you need to work, you need to fix your gosh darn life. All right, let's see. Where are we at? We're a couple of minutes to go. Yeah, look, teenagers got to be teenaging, don't they? Like again, for every time I talk to my wife about this, and we say, look, we need to let our children make their own mistakes. We know the outcomes. It's almost like watching a car crash in slow motion sometimes because you know the thing they're doing. You know that you can tell them not to do it, but you also know that they kind of have to see that for themselves. They have to prove it. And you telling them, there's a thing that triggers in kids' head. It's actually been proven that as they start going through puberty, and it's actually a survival thing. It's actually okay, a bit creepy. Block your ears if you don't want to, but it's actually like an anti-inbreeding thing. Like your kids are supposed to not really like their parents and think that their parents are kind of idiots. And parents are supposed to get frustrated with their children and think that they don't know what they're doing. Because otherwise, it's to make the children get out from the tribe. Like from back in the day, the children needed to move away from the tribe so that they could not breed with the tribe. It's just an interesting sort of biological thing. All right. I've forgotten how to spell too much vino. Well, on that note, I think we're going to have to finish up, I think. What are your on social media spin doctors? I don't like anyone who... I said it at the start. I'll reinforce what I said at the start. Anyone who says they know everything about everything knows nothing about anything, because it means that you're not critically thinking. It means that you're predetermining your outcome, and then you're looking for people that will band together that have the same views as you and have proof points that prove what you think, rather than actually critically going out there and learning what is correct. So yeah, Don't have a lot of credit for people that say that they're gurus. That like it's why I could never be I could never be a cult leader because I don't. I'd be like, what do you think? To IC, what do you think, underling? Like, no, I wouldn't be able to get up there and say, hey, I know everything. I am all powerful. I am almighty. I know I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No, I think that you got to just be open to listening to multiple points of view and then working out what is actually right for you. And at the end of the day, right and wrong doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that everyone has the freedom to do what they want to do if it doesn't affect other people. It's kind of as simple as that. I know it's oversimplification of a very complicated issue, whether it be related to music, whether it be social media, whether it be privacy, whether it be censorship, whether it be whatever you want. I just think that there's too much focus and emphasis on who's right and who's wrong and who's winning and who's losing, when really we're all on the same team playing the same game. So why does it matter? Is my sort of view on that. All right, that is going to do it for this one. Thanks for all the questions. Sorry, went off on a few tangents, but I did warn you. I said this is the sort of show where we just take it wherever it goes. We go off on tangents and we talk about whatever comes up, and that's what came up. So you got to hear my view on it. And again, if your view varies, fabulous. Let me know. Let me know why I'm wrong, because I might be. Guess what? I might be. I might not have done the research, or I might not have all the right information, or the way I do things might not be the right way for you. All correct. All of the above. Don't forget to catch this guy here and Ian Luckett over on Frank Terzo's Community Pulse show. I'll send you straight from here over to the foyer, the lobby of Frank's premiere. So set yourself a reminder and jump into that in 1 hour's time. I got to jump over and do a bunch of work now, so wish me luck with that. Yeah, it's all fun stuff. Yeah, bookkeeping, taxes. Yeah, it's not all just music and live streaming. There's the boring part of the business too. So please wish me luck with that. And until next time, folks, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, keep creating, and I'll see you next time on GarageBand Weekly. Bye for now.